what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today this video is going to be a little bit different. Not going to talk really about the Corvette. I'm going to talk about my daily driver. So for the last, I don't know, 3 years or so, I've had a 2012 Ford Taurus SHO. I don't know if I've had it in any of the videos as far as like little side shots, or maybe you see in the background. Didn't ever feature the car. They are all-wheel drive twin turbo from the factory, so they're pretty peppy for what they are stock. The only downside is their weight. They're pretty heavy. That one was pretty modified when I bought it. Drove it for gosh, I think I had it for about 2.5 years, 3 years, something like that. Quite a while for me. I don't usually keep cars that long. But I was pretty happy with it. It did what I wanted it to do. It hauled the kids around. It was fun. Before I had the Corvette, I had the Firebird. It's been on the channel before. That car was down quite a while, so it gave me something I could look forward to driving and kind of tinkering with and modifying a little bit. And, you know, most of my driving was city. I don't drive very far. My commute is like, 15 miles to the kids' school. Occasionally drive my wife to work if she needs a ride. I'm working from home some days. So, you know, that I just come back here, it was just putting around. I would make maybe at the most drive like 60 miles a day, if that. Typically it's just like 30 to 40. 45 is probably realistic average, just counting, you know, running an errand or going to lunch or something. So it was just a point where, you know, I wanted to kind of make a change. I was kind of getting tired of the Taurus. The gas was really the main thing. I had my fun in this car. I didn't really need a fun daily car, and I just was kind of ready for something different. You know, thought about it. I thought, well, you know, maybe I should look around for an electric car. 5 years ago, I would have thought, there's no way. Why would I do that? You know, internal combustion for life, all that good stuff. And so I looked around at different vehicles online, just trying to find, you know, some different examples on different things and different ideas as far as what the cars are capable of, range, cost, you know, how much it is to upkeep. Obviously, there's no petroleum involved at all, no oil changes, no gasoline, obviously, but you know, tires are kind of a big deal, especially on some models. They wear a little bit quicker than others. So, you know, for what I'm doing with the car, it was a good option. I think they have their place, I guess is what I'm trying to say. 5 years ago, I'd say that's nuts. I don't want one of those. That's stupid. I'm not talking a hybrid. I'm talking all electric, just to save the money. Think big kid Power Wheel, plug it into the wall. You know, it's a lot cheaper. I can go into the numbers a little bit on what I end up going with, but so I decided to, you know, kind of really start searching around and trying to find these cars that I could test drive, kind of figure out my price and figure out how I wanted to keep what I wanted to keep it under. And so I did my budget and everything, and I wanted to keep it under $20,000. So originally I was looking for something under 15. Talked to the bank. If I found a 14 or 15 car, I could lend a little bit more as far as a term. I don't mind paying it out. I'm saving money anyway. You know, less fuel costs. Electric bill's going to go up, but it's not too much, honestly. So in comparison, so what the vehicles I looked at, well, first of all, the Fiat idea was one I originally had just because I'd seen it and I'd seen results. I'm a big results guy. So if I see something that worked well for somebody, I give it some serious thought for myself and how it could be used. And so yeah, I thought, well, I'll try and find one locally to test drive. So I started looking around, didn't see anything. I remembered a friend of mine from back in the day. We used to work together, still friends. He's a big Tesla guy. So I thought, well, you know, I know that a Tesla isn't going to be in the ballpark of what I can afford, but at least it'll give me an idea of the feel of what an electric car is kind of capable of, the mannerisms, how it drives, how it could feel, you know, just kind of give me an idea of kind of the echelon, the high point on electric, like what's the best to get. So the best that I could come across that I could find and I know I could drive was his Model Y. He had a 3P. I never got to drive it before or ride in it before. He sold it for the Model Y because him and his girlfriend or wife are kind of sharing it. So I remembered I got to ride in a newer Model 3 Performance 3P, whatever. Model 3 Tesla at a Cars and Coffee. Gosh, that was last spring. I think it was last May or June when I first got the Corvette together. It was probably June. And so this guy that I knew back then, old kind of car guy friend, he gave me a ride in his 3P, and it was just stupid fast. It would easily outrun anything that I've got. It would probably outrun most cars that are on the road, at least from a stop. We pulled out of where we were at the Cars and Coffee, and I was like, "You sure you want to hit this right here, in front of everybody?" He's like, "Nobody's going to hear us." So he lays into the throttle, and there was no laying into it. He just matted it, and you just feel it in your gut how fast that is, and it's all the power, all the torque right there, and there's no wheel spin. Like, it was a dry day. No issues with traction at all. It was just gone. And I asked him, I was like, "How fast is this thing?" And he said, "Well, I want to say he said he raced in a 12.0 bracket and he was breaking out. So mid-low 11s is what the car would run, like full tilt. And I think he said it would trap like mid-120s. It felt faster than that just because it was all in at the hit. It was just nuts. I thought my Taurus was fast from a hit. The Taurus would go it went 12.30s at 111, and it would 60 or 0 to 60 time was like 3.8, I think, was the 0 to 60 time. And that felt fast to me with what it was doing, with that car being so heavy. And that on the street, it just felt crazy because it would just hit you. Well, this was like that times 10. I mean, it would give you a gut ache. It would just, you'd feel it in your chest and your gut. It was just nuts. And so, I started, giving it thought. I called up my buddy with the Model Y. He let me drive it, and I loved it. I knew I would, but I know I can't afford one of those. So never thought I'd do it. I never thought I'd buy another Volkswagen. I've got this one right here, obviously, my wife's car. But I went back to the dealer that had it, and I said, "Look, I'm really interested, can I make you an offer?" And I made him an offer. It was the best deal out there out of all of them, and it ended up being the best deal for me, best car for me. They were $2,000 less than an ADA. I'm like, where's the problem with it? And he said he had a lot for 60 days and he's just ready to move it. So I threw a super low ball offer. They kind of met me in the middle, and I ended up saving $500 off their asking. Got a great deal. And so here's the car. The car is a 2015 Volkswagen e-Golf. A 15, it's got 17,500 miles on it. I'm shocked that I was able to get it as cheap as I got it. You can't really see here. I took the front plate off. I'm gonna have to get some plugs for these holes, kind of unsightly. It drives like a mini version of that, which that's an 18 Atlas, which I really like. My wife picked that out. We haul the family around in it, and it's funny because I never thought we'd have two silver Volkswagens. That's kind of bizarre, but I love it. It does exactly what I want it to do. I never thought I'd drive a little freaking egg. It's so goofy looking, honestly. I mean, but it's not quite as goofy as the BMW as far as being strange. It looks like the Golf. They basically use the Golf and they put the electric drivetrain in it. So I'll show you the inside a little bit. It's kind of dirty, but under the hood, it's front wheel drive. So which I didn't really care about, honestly, where the motor was. Hopefully I don't get a bunch of water under here. I'm driving in the wet. I don't want to raise this all the way and dump a bunch of water in there, but yeah, it's the electric motors up front. It's a single speed transmission, I guess is how it works. I don't even freaking know about these things, honestly. It has a battery that's easy to get to. The i3 was like buried under the dash, so big battery right up front, which is nice. That's basically showing you your battery. Right now it'd be close to max because it's pretty full. As it gets lower, it shows you like how much power you have. If your battery gets really low, you won't have any power. You won't be able to go. You won't have to go pedal. 0, 0 is basically just a trip reset. It's kind of cool. They have a battery gauge instead of a gas gauge over here. So if people are looking for a gas gauge, it basically shows you how much battery you have left there, which is kind of nice. It's got the infotainment center thing. It's a small, basically a mini version. It's a 6-inch screen, or 5.8 or something like that. It's kind of dinky, but it works. Blue is like the thing for electric, apparently. So it's got like blue stitching and blue inside. Pretty cool though. I mean, it's a nice car. It's in really good shape. So I've driven it this morning, like probably, 10 miles running errands, and it's at 60 now. You can see it down on the bottom on the right in the middle. But I mean, I didn't buy it for super long range. I bought it to like drive 40 to 50 miles a day, so it's perfect. I mean, I could get almost 2 days out of it in nice weather. So I definitely can't explain how it drives better than I've said, because you really have to drive them. That's what I learned. The BMW i3 may be a great car. It was not the car for me. These lights are flashing on the camera, but they're not flashing in real life because it's LED. There it goes. This feels like a car, but it's electric powered. The regen braking you can actually turn off and on the shifter, and you can adjust it, which is really nice. So you can put it in D and just have normal driving mode, and it feels like a normal car, except it's a transmission that never shifts, and it's silent. But that's pretty cool. So if you're not used to electric, you don't like how that feels, that's really nice. The i3 is regen braking all the time. And like I said, what that means is you take your foot off the accelerator and it feels like it's braking. And some people, don't really like it. I kind of like it because you can get kind of used to 1 foot driving, which is pretty nice. That's what I've been doing. Just getting used to that. It's not the fastest thing on the road. It's definitely fun from a hit because it just all power from, launch to about 40, 45, then it kind of falls off. But I mean, that's what you do, stoplight to stoplight, right? So not bad. It'll keep up with, most things on the road from, just that little bit. But it's not really fast, honestly. It's not near the speed of a Tesla. But I think for the money, this car is the closest thing to that Model Y in my price range, under 20 grand. So I challenge you to find a car that feels the most like a Tesla. Overall driving experience, driving feel, ride quality, interior feel, nice seats, just overall car. I challenge you to find a better electric car, all electric. Range kind of set aside for me, but I mean that may matter to some people. But the newer Golfs are more expensive, but they have more range. But for all my boxes, this thing checked all of them. So if you're not going to drive very far, I think the max, like I said, 100, 120 miles in nice weather, and that's really probably more stop and go. It doesn't do as well on the highway above about 60, 65 miles an hour. It'll start running through the battery a little bit quicker. You can't blaze down the highway at 75 or 80 and expect to get good range. It just won't do it. It'll get closer to 60 or 70. But if you're not driving far, you don't mind charging it, have a home charger like I'm going to do, this thing is going to save me some bucks. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and please like and subscribe.